missed my ferry, almost ran out of gas. Check out this place. Corfu. Who would have knew? Okay, so GPS. Hopefully you behave. I've been having this issue with the GPS. Let's just get this thing going first. Okay, and we're gonna get out of Corfu and go south. It's only supposed to be like 12 miles, but wouldn't you know it, takes an hour to get there. So let's see what these roads are gonna be like. I'm fired up. Come on GPS. Let's plug you in. Okay, we're about 78% charged. It's 6 o'clock. Let's unlock this thing. See, I already had started the route. Now it's telling me to start all over again. 59 minutes. Okay, is this one on? Really can't tell. Fucking can't tell. How the fuck do you tell? Wait a minute, see if it turns off. Okay. Oh, fuck you. See, it did it again. Alright, here we go. Look at that tiny little... Oh, that's the Coast Guard. Okay, so she's telling me in a quarter mile, turn on to Ethnistis Mustakias. Did you get that? Did you get that? Check out this place. Big boats. That's a cruise ship. That's an Adriatic cruise ship. That's a COVID breeding lab. I think I've got to go out. Not this way, that's the Coast Guard office. Okay. Here's where all the people check in for their boats. Okay, so they're going to want me to come out here and make a left. So, here we go. Corfu town, old port, old town. So we're going to ride a little through town. I've got daylight. I can't wait to get to this place because it has been a long day. I got up at, essentially 6 o'clock, 6:30. I was rolling around doing some crap. Finally pulled myself out of bed at about 6:45, packed everything that I hadn't done last night, and had the breakfast downstairs, which started at 7. So as I queued myself up for breakfast, I brought a couple items down to the bike, loaded them on, had breakfast, got the rest of the items, and bam, took off. It was about an hour and a half ride from my hotel in Lixiri till I got to the Sami port, where I checked in and then hopped on the boat. It was about 2.5 hours, running late. So by the time I was all done at the port, it was, I'm 3 hours. Okay, so we're navigating. I'm listening to Siri give me my South African, actually my Australian babe, telling me where to go here because I'm clueless. It's Corfu. Look at the bell tower. That's an old Venetian bell tower if you've ever seen one. Okay, so we're going to hang a Ralph here. Wow, a little traffic here. Now, I would imagine that because there was, they say that there's, what did bookings say, about 800 properties in Corfu, and that includes the old town and the surrounding area. And then they list some 4,000 properties all over Corfu. And out of the 800 or so that were around the port, they had about 3 availability. And the lowest price one was like $400 a night, all the way up to a whole villa for $16,000 a night, if you can imagine. So there was no chance that Alan was going to be hanging out in the old port. And then as you expand the results for that 4,000 throughout the entire island of Corfu, it showed 35 properties, including several multi-$1,000 beautiful looking villas with multiple bedrooms, multiple living rooms, swimming pools, beachfront, etc., etc. So is I went through the whole thing looking for something reasonable. I did find this place that said, she's telling me to bear left up here, so we'll see what this looks like. There's a horse-drawn carriage. I'm guessing this is where I'm bearing left. Wow. Okay. Doesn't really look... Okay. She's not steering me wrong. She's just helping me. Because I could have made that left over there, but that would have been more difficult. Okay, so I found this place south, and it sounds like it's in a quiet, sleepy village, which is just fine for me. I don't need to go out and get crazy, but I will say this. Last night was going to be that same kind of night, and I went to this restaurant called Av, and it had been recommended to me by the chef over at Porto. Uh-oh. And anyway, I get in there, and they are slammed. It's, they're understaffed, and the bottles of wine, the local Kefalonian wines that they had available. Okay, so there was another port you could go to a little bit. Oh, Lefkimi, I think maybe all the way down south. I got to look at that. So, anyway, the three local reds that, that would be considerations. Two of them were done by Sklavos, and one of them was a Herodatos, I believe is the name. And of course, they had the Sklavos, but they were out of the Herodatos. And I said, well, I already had the Sklavos, so give me something new. And anyway, I was trying to catch their attention of the waiter, and they were slammed. And I'm just a single guy here. Can't make my decision of the food or the wine. And I don't want to be the problem guy, but I'm also the cheerful guy who astounds everybody. Lots of facts, lots of things that I know and I share, and questions I ask so I can learn more, so I know more facts and can share them later. And this is the endless circle of traveling and learning, and that's what I love. But anyway, it turns out I could see that my dish is not coming. So I'm about 200, 300 meters from my hotel, so I run to the hotel and get this bottle of Mavrodaphne from Kefalonia that I'd gotten in Aristoli, and decide, look, I don't need to be carrying these wines around. I'll just open this one. So I bring it back, and of course they open it without any hassle. No, well, we're not allowed to do that kind of thing, or we're going to charge you this corkage. It was all just, let's open it. So as I'm sitting and I look over at another table just a few away from me, I realize Sklavos is in the same restaurant. And he's talking, the wife is there, and he's talking with another guy, and they look like they're kind of in a serious discussion. So I kind of chill out and wait for them to eat, and eventually I find the photos I took of Sklavos the day before, which is some really good ones, some nice portrait, casual, candid portraits. And I go over there, and he introduces me. It's his Canadian distributor. It's a guy named Theo, who's from Montreal. He distributes the Sklavos wines in Quebec, and he also distributes Econamu. So we have just a fantastic connection. They invite me to sit at their table. I bring over that wine, share it with them. Of course, Sklavos knows about that, but Theo had never had the wine. It's a very fresh Mavrodaphne, no oak, high elevation, stainless steel, really good acidity, and just a nice, fresh, drinkable wine. Mavrodaphne can sometimes be a little too sweet, a little higher in the alcohol. And this was sitting right around 13 and was wonderful. Theo really liked it. So we stay up talking, and next thing I know, Sklavos orders another bottle of Ribolla, the cooperative Ribolla. That's made by all the people that don't have their own labels, and they all kind of have a co-op and market this wine, and there's a new label for it, so they've got a new look. It's crowded here. I can see this. I have no idea. Is this what it's going to be like the whole way down? It's not going to be like twisty mountain roads. It's just traffic. That's why it's an hour? I've got these questions. See, I always have questions. So we sit there, and we're up until after 1 a.m. And I had said to myself, well, I'm not going to go and out on the, Obli is off the main track in Luxury. And I also went a little early. Usually I like to eat dinner around 9:30, quarter to 10. So I went there at 9. Of course, due to the fact that they were slammed and all this, I never really got any food until after 10. And then sat down with those guys probably around 10:30, 11, and we sat down and talked for a couple hours. And so here I am, due to wake up around 6:30, and I'm going to bed at 1. We didn't have that much alcohol. It wasn't like, I think the night before, when I went downtown, I had to go with the taxi from Forestata, and I had a glass of wine, I think mezzo, and I had a bottle of wine, rosé, from that same guy here at Atos. Then I stopped over at Porto and saw Grigori, and he gave me a glass of wine. Then I went looking for Christos. He usually bartends up at the Loft, which was hopping and bumping and twisting and turning with lots of young people and loud music. And I had a beer up there. By the time I got home, I had maybe a bottle's worth of wine in me. And I was a little slow the next morning. And that's when I decided I'm just going to stay and find a hotel for another night. So I decide I'm going to find another room. Now, Forestata, the place up on the hill I'd been staying at, was full. Okay, now the breeze is going through the jacket. I'm feeling good. We're heading south. I am going to stop because I have no confidence in this GPS with it. It's constant stopping, navigating for whatever reason. Anyway, I decided, and I booked the room at this place called the Palatino, which is more closer to town. I knew that I'd have to get this early ferry to get over to Astakos in order to get up to Ioannina to get this ferry to Corfu at a reasonable time, so I'm not in the nighttime. And this is what's so crazy. I book it on Booking.com. I get a confirmation, and it's downtown. I know that it's going to be a little easier to get the bike packed for an early start. And I show up at the Palatino. After a couple hours working on the computer, updating, put Instagram, and I finished that YouTube video about 17 days. If you haven't seen that, get over there and check it out. Hey, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel here, please do. We're always trying to get new content and new fans out there so we can keep this stuff up, keep traveling, keep bringing more questions, more answers, more factoids, more food, more wine, more motorcycling, more just grooving on the groove, right? The dream, living the dream. So, I show up at the Palatino and they tell me, I'm sorry, but we are full. Okay. Well, now we're climbing. Now this is what I kind of expected in terms of the timing to get to this place, which is not that far. Palatino, I mean, I'm a reasonable guy, and I'm like, well, that's weird. How come? I'm not the angry guy, and, slamming my fist down. And they had already figured it out. They had been making calls, I guess, all morning. Apparently, most of Luxury was full, but there was a room available at a property just a few blocks from the Palatino called the Summery. And the Summery is actually right on the beach. It maybe isn't quite as nice of a hotel, and I don't really care. I was not looking for nice. I was just looking for availability. It turned out to be great because I got in a couple swims. It's right downtown. It was only, like I said, 300 meters from this restaurant that I'd wanted to try, and I'd been recommended. So it was all good, except I ran into Sklavos, Vladis Sklavos. Ended up being out much later. But it wasn't a full-on, no hangover. Just a little tired this morning. So I am eager to get to this village. Now, I also did on the way out of town, I stopped at the little AB store and picked up a couple local Kefalonian wines because I know I'm going to be in this town that has like one taverna, and they're going to only have their own bag-in-the-box wine. So this way, I can bring my own wine and it will be decent. And I bought up another bottle of that rosé, so I'm going to chill that down. Let's pass this guy. Whoa. Uh-oh. Did I miss my turn? Uh-oh. No, I think I'm good. Wow, this is twisting area. Now, here it is. We're going through a little village. Here's the Olive Wood Workshop. I was downshifting there and ended up in neutral right as I was into that turn. Oh my goodness. Everything is perched up on these hills here. You can see this is just a very mountainous. And a lot of the properties, by the way, that were available were not hotels, not like formal where they're going to have a person there who can check you in and do that. And the difficulty for me in some of those is I never know when I'm going to show up. And they need to know because they don't live there on the property. Look at this old building. What the hell's going on in here? Wow. It's like an old mansion or something. It's definitely a museum of some sort. Wow. This reminds me of the eastern side of Kefalonia a little bit with the tall cypresses. It's very green. And then we're looking back over towards Ioannina, I guess. We're going through a forest. It's telling me to turn right, and all it is going to be these little switchback things, right? Because there is no flat spot on this side of the island. I mean, maybe not on any part of the island. Here's the tennis court that's backed up with some solar panels. So Corfu, I do know that the old port is kind of like with Hania. It's Venetian. They get a lot of Italians. So I guess we're at Bentley Bay. Is that name of the hotel anyway? So maybe there's a bay below me here. I don't know. I was kind of questioning myself about this place I booked, right? I always read the reviews a little bit. They got some nice write-ups. Definitely, I could read right through the lines that it's going to be sleepy place. And it said seaside. Basically, a lot of times they'll tell you, it'll be 1,500 feet from the beach, the seaside or the sea or whatever. And as I read reviews, people said, the first floor rooms give you a view. And I'm thinking, there's going to be a beach there. And when I get there, I can jump in. Now, this place does have a pool, but it's not like there's beaches here. I mean, there are some. But it's forest down to the water, I think. And it's not like any of these hotels are sitting really on the water. Look at that big one up there. Wow. This would be, I'm perfectly fine with the winding and twisting, but being in a car like this, it would be somebody's getting sick, right? 7 keys. Look, I must have passed already, 20 hotels, 30 maybe. And I haven't been on this journey too long. Now, here's some apartment studios, which would be this one, apartment studios with a pool. Okay, it's telling me to turn right. Now, watch this. You guys are watching. You see, this is not a right at all. It's just where the road goes. And all these people are walking up this hill, which is, I guess there's probably a beach down here. But that's treacherous with all these cars. It's got to be dangerous. I remember when I was in Crete and I said, I'm going to walk where was I going again? To the taverna. We're always going to a taverna. And I was going to walk to the taverna. Okay, now this looks more like a proper road. Suck it in right here. Anxana Corfu. So there's a mega yacht out there. Now this seems like, this seems more like a proper road. So they have leveled and flattened out the side of the seaside here. So let's see what it says. How long have I got to go yet? I got 35 minutes still. So can you imagine there's 4,000 properties on this island that people could stay at? And a lot of those are like Airbnb or these, private host properties that you have to kind of queue up and then arrange to meet somebody to do a key handoff and that kind of thing. But out of those 4,000, whatever the number is, that only, as of yesterday, 35 had availability. We're in the high season, and this is not normal WorldRider kind of thing. The past few years when I've come to Benitez Bay is what it is. So this is Benitez Marina, and that was the Benitez Bay Hotel up there. When I've been on the road, I'd be in a town like, August of 2019, let's think about that. I was probably in Romania. Not the hot spot for beach-going tourists. I've seen a lot of Romania vehicles. I mean, not a lot, but more than I would expect on the road here. The guy's trying to find a spot. Okay, here's beaches. Here's tourist shops. Definitely the crowds. I wouldn't want to be in this town. Quieter times. But I'm kind of wondering now, I'm second guessing, am I going to have the ability to go for a swim when I land? Go for a swim and get a fresh juice and then a cold beer. That's my thinking. This guy on the bike, the ultimate protective gear, he's got a t-shirt and shorts and sandals. Coming back to that Palatino hotel, I just need to finish that story. So when I show up there, they say they've got this room at the Summary, and then they're like, where is it? So down the hill more, but right on the water. Vasilis is the manager of the hotel, and the receptionist calls Vasilis, and he is willing to escort me down. Now, they were going to take me there if I was just showing up with, like in a taxi or something. But no, he provided me the tour, so I just followed him down to the Summary Hotel, and that's where I got to stay. And but when I was putting on my helmet and the gear, getting ready to go, following him, he says, you Europeans, you follow the law. We in Greece, we don't. And I said, I'm American and we follow the law. Many of us do. And he was referring to putting on the helmet mostly, and then maybe the jacket. And he said that his nephew, 31 years old, just a few weeks ago, got into an accident. He wasn't wearing his helmet, and he died. And he paused for a moment, kind of shook his head. I could see it was the reminder of seeing me put on my helmet of his nephew. Certainly brought about an emotion in him. He kind of was complaining in his own way about Greeks and their lack of following the law. And it's not just with putting on the helmet. It's funny, they'll stop in the middle of the road. They'll just park, and there's people lined up behind, and everybody has to jockey, and it's like he goes, she goes, he goes, she goes. It's crazy sometimes, in a busy place. So anyway, that was Vasilis at Palatino telling me about his nephew. Lost his life due to a motorcycle accident and his lack of following the law and using the protective gear that there's times it's so friggin' hot, I don't want to do it, but I'm in my routine, it's habit. I know it can happen. And it can happen in a second. Look at there's big hotels here. All I knew about Corfu is that it has beautiful landscapes, for sure, okay? And we're still pretty close to Kirkira, which is the capital, and it's also right, the Corfu old town right there is part of it. Right? That's where the port is. That's where the airport is. But what I know about this is a lot of Italians like to come here, because there are direct boats that come from the east coast of Italy here to Corfu, and then a lot of them will continue on and take it up to Saranda in Albania, which is very cheap, and Greece isn't so expensive either, but it's not like Albania, much cheaper. I'll have this room I'm going to is costing me $98 for the night. I'm staying one night. I don't know, maybe I'll stay two, but I'm rolling the dice. I know I have to go back to that port in order to take a boat to Albania. I'm going to take the boat to Albania because it's going to shave some miles and some heat off a long day tomorrow. I'm still going to have a 3-hour ride once I land in Saranda to go to Vlor. I'll stay in Vlor for a night, and then I'll go to Tirana and hook up with some old friends. But the idea is tomorrow night get somewhere a little closer. Although now that I'm driving through this area, and I'm like, I don't know, closer. It's good. It's going to be an hour ride to if I stay here And also was thinking, well, maybe I could go to the old port. I mean, the old town, Corfu Old Town. I would like to see it. Although, with all the amount of this tourists here, I almost think, it's a place I could return to easy enough. Greece seems to be always part of my itinerary for these summer and fall travels. Well, it's not as windy and twisty. It just happens to be a long string of traffic. And that's why it takes so long, and going through all these little villages. And with the high season, probably in the low season, it's a 30-minute ride. Oh, now it's telling me I've got 25 minutes. Okay, so I got 7.2 miles. So maybe the 13 miles was as the crow flies in the roads there. So I got 7 miles. It's going to take me 25 minutes. And there's no sense in trying to get ahead of anyone. You're just going to come up to another group of cars. And, these other motorcyclists, they just continue to hammer on it. To me, that's a little more stressful. Look at it. You got these big buses. Oh, Corfu, who would have knew that the sea would be so blue, my little Corfu. Man, it was so windy today. That ride from, I gotta tell you this, because we didn't have any cameras going, and thank God we didn't, because I probably would have lost one. So, ferry from Sami in Kefalonia to Astakos. It's about a 2.5 hour ferry ride, a slow boat for sure. Then we land in this Astakos, and I get on the road, and it's a beautiful ride for about 35-40 minutes from the coast to the major, kind of the national road, the north-south national road for the western port of Greece. That goes probably from Patra all the way to Ioannina, and then you have to kind of take a splinter off to Ioannimitsa. Yeah, this is madness. Another big bus. Here's the 530. Lord, travel. You take this little splinter off to head to the coast to Ioannimitsa, which is the port where I picked up the boat here to go to Corfu. And that road, which is a engineering masterpiece, because I must have counted 20 tunnels, incredible bridges to make it not be the windy, twisty road that I took the other way. And the whole time I was going into the headwinds, and it was strong. So strong that I calculated the mileage, because I filled up my tank from yesterday in Kefalonia, and I had only put on maybe 15 miles since maybe it was 20 miles by the time I arrived at the port at Sami. So usually my reserve light comes on, giving me a warning that I'm going to have 20 to 30 miles left, depending on conditions. About 150 to 160. Today, as I was calculating and also watching the gas station slip by, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do all right. But knowing I'm now on the highway, I'm going 70 miles an hour, sometimes more. And then I get on this road, and I've got this headwind, and I was like, I had the throttle floored, and I was only doing 65. Third exit at this roundabout, I'm being told, is 1, 2, 3. This headwind comes on, and I'm looking down, I'm thinking, oh, no problem, I'm going to make it. I know that there'll be fuel the minute I land in Corfu. I know I'll probably maybe roll onto the ferry boat with the reserve light. Well, no such luck. The reserve light comes on at 124 miles. That's like 25 miles advanced. And I know it's because it's the headwinds and I'm going really fast. Okay, so the reserve light comes on, and now I'm on this road, which, while it is a magnificent piece of engineering, it doesn't have the services that the national road had, which had, every 30 to 40 kilometers, you have this, this like rest area with gas and cafe, and, it's really well done. But there I am, the reserve light comes honking on, staring at me in the face, and I look down at the GPS, it's telling me I need like 40 miles, and there's no way I'm going to make it. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get stranded on this amazing but yet kind of desolate road. And then finally, I'm also looking at the clock, by the way, because here it is. My boat arriving in Astacos was late. This is beautiful. Look at this. Got rid of some of the crowds. I guess this is why they were saying it gets a little quieter. I'm now already feeling a little of that. Oh. Is my swimming dream going to come true? So, I'm looking at the clock, and my GPS says I'm going to have a 3:21 arrival. Then I finally see a sign out of the corner of my eye. I'm glad I caught it, because I thought for sure I was going to be running out of gas and it was going to be a whole new adventure, which I'm not opposed to, but really, I don't need that. And I have to get off the freeway, if you will, get some fuel. Normally I fill up and like whatever, I open up my wallet, my money clip, and I see I got a 20 euro. I says, just give me 20, fast. And I hop back on the bike and get back on the freeway, and now the GPS tells me I'm going to be there at 3:23, and I roll. At least I know I've got fuel, so I'm not being too easy on the throttle as I'd been since the reserve light came. So I'm hammering on the throttle, get into the port. I see all these people lined up at this building. I walk in. There's port, shipping companies, ferry companies lining the walls. I'm like, which one's mine? I go up to a lady and I says, where's Corfu? She says, gotta go a different port, kilometer down. So it's a totally different port, just down a kilometer on the same street. And I go down there, and just as I get there, I see my boat, but I've got to convert. This is what's so crazy. They don't have e-tickets, some of these ferry companies, especially the ones over here on the Ionian side. So I've got to go to the office, show them my booking number, because I booked it online, and then they've got to print, physical tickets. I'm like, great. So, in all the time that I was waiting with all these other people, my boat takes off. And there's no refunds. It was 20 euros. It was 19 euros, actually. And the guy says, well, I can give you the same price, but, there's no refund, no credit. So I got pay another 19. So this whole ferry ride cost me 38 euro, and it was supposed to cost 19. If you buy it at the port, I learned this, it was 23 or 24. So I did save some money. Actually, maybe in the end I didn't, because I paid twice. But theoretically, I would have saved money. Now the road gets a little, not really caring about the roads. There you go. There's a beach. I still have 11 miles. Oh no, 11 minutes. And it says, 2 miles? Corfu, riding a little to rural Corfu. From the busy to the rural. I haven't seen a big bus since I turned off that little main kind of drag, nor has there been a roundabout. This is all perfectly fine after a day of adventure, and I probably put forth the notion that I will have been about 5 hours riding today. 5 hours on the throttle. So anyway, I get the, buy the ticket and, get on the boat. The boat was already there, actually, when I bought the ticket. He's like, yeah, I think it's just behind that building. And then you've been with me since I landed for the most part. So I hope you're enjoying the ride as much as I am. The guy offering car rentals here. I think it would be more like you'd want a boat rental, right? Feeling a little tropical. Oh, and there's some nice flowers. This is very nice. It's quiet. I don't see all these lines of tour shops. Nice. I mean, some of these places, I have no idea. When I was looking through the availability of those 35, I mean, there was one that, like I said, I think it was 11 or 13,000 a day. And then there was two that were like $6,000 a day. And then there were hotel rooms at $600, $700 a night. And look, I'm WorldRider here. I don't need a $600 room. Just give me a good place to park and a nice bed. And a fan would be good if it's going to be this hot. But even then, I haven't used an air conditioner on this trip at all in any of the rooms I've been on. None of them have had a fan, and I think a fan is more appropriate. A fan can keep mosquitoes away, though I haven't had a real mosquito problem. The golden sunset is telling me to turn right. Oh, at the stop sign here. Here we go. Well, look at this. This is lovely. There's a little taverna right on the street. This is Bukhari. Kari Beach. Definitely cool out. It's probably now 6:45. Yeah, this is definitely this part of the ride, you know, the last 15 minutes has been fine, but that first 30 minutes, it's like it, you know, even though I've been in busy parts, I have not had that kind of scene before. Even in Hanya, you know, and Crete, nothing like that. Of course, this place is much more popular than Hanya, though Hanya's, the pedestrian walk around the old port was definitely a craziness. Kitty, kitty! I saw a cat. See, we're just in a village now. There's not a sign of a tourist here at all. Lady was out with her dog. These people just hanging out. They're just locals. Here's an old guy up there. Look, there's a village right away across the way, climbing up that hill. We are definitely out of the tourist area, so we got to give a thumbs up to that. There'll be no you know, at a disco tonight, like I was 2 nights ago. Petriti. Okay, that's where I'm staying. 1 kilometer. And there's a gas station. Look at that. Hotel Regina Nina. Huh. Half a mile, I'm going to be turning left, and we will be arriving at the scene. I am sure of that. I just still have a hard time believing that this entire island is that booked. And you might be asking yourself, as I was asking myself, well, why do I want to go to an island that is that packed? And it's a good question. I want to go north. I know there are boats that leave here to go into Albania. And since I've been doing this boat thing, it seemed like a good idea because it would shave some time off. Turn right. Oh, I'm here. To the beach, it says. Now, Siri has messed me up only once on this trip from the GPS. And it could be that I had entered something in wrong. You never know. She's been a little finicky with me by turning herself off. Okay, here you go. Pensios Iriapos. This is us. Oops. Oops. I gotta come in here. Okay. This is me. Okay. There's a cat. Hey, Allan Karl checking in here. No, I'm not in the Ionian or the Adriatic. I am in the swimming pool of my hotel here. Erios, I think is how you pronounce it, but it's in a little town called Petridi, south of Corfu's old town, by probably only 13 miles as the crow flies. And yet it took me an hour winding around through crazy traffic, tourists, and 9 million hotels, but I'm in this little sleepy town that's got just a few tavernas. There's a little marina here, and I arrived at 7 o'clock after leaving just after 6 up at the port. It's about 7:15 now, but I arrived around 7. Met Tony, who's the owner of the hotel. They've got a little restaurant here, and there's a little bar right over here. I just ordered a beer and a fresh squeezed orange juice. But it took me an hour. Left just a little after 6 from the port there. And I vlogged the whole way, as I mentioned, and you'll get more of that story. But it's been a really long day. I got up way early, 6:30. It's way early for WorldRider. Caught a ferry over to Astakos, and then rode for about, I don't know, I think it was 3 hours as it turned out, to Ivanomitsa, where I missed my ferry, almost ran out of gas, and a lot of other drama that I won't bore you with right now. But what I will bore you with is that I'm here, treading water. iPhone in one hand. and I'm happy to be in Corfu, and I'm in the quiet part of town. I should correct that. Yes, I almost ran out of gas. Yes. the headwinds coming off the coast of Vietnamese through this crazy, well-engineered road with about 20 tunnels. But headwinds so strong that my bike was having a little bit of a struggle going up some of these hills. It's a 650, and anyway, used up a lot of fuel on that, and didn't run out of gas, saved that. I missed my ferry by about 2 minutes, but I was able to get on another one 45 minutes later, and so just arriving a little later than I really had hoped. This is Alan. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.